Imagine that as of today, all the people you find will accept your ideas. It is not magic, it is science, and Dale Carnegie discovered it decades ago. In today's video, I am going to teach you step by step how to use this technique to earn the attention, trust, and respect of anyone. And best of all, naturally. Let me tell you Sarah's story. She was having difficulties in her new work. Each meeting was very difficult for him. His colleagues rejected his ideas and his boss barely recognized his presence. Then he discovered this Carnegie technique and everything changed. In a matter of weeks, people went to her in search of advice. His boss began to implement his suggestions. What changed? She learned the secret that makes people feel irresistibly attracted to you. You will be surprised how simple it is, and probably has never occurred to you. But first, let me describe a situation. Think of that person of your life that everyone wants. The person who enters a room and instantly becomes the positive care center. The person whose phone does not sound with invitations. What does that person have that you do not have? Intelligence? Money? A perfect appearance? Nothing of the sort. It has something much more powerful and accessible to everyone. Before revealing exactly how to apply this in your daily life, subscribe to the channel. Every week I bring you proven techniques to communicate better, influence more, and win anyone. So, if you want to learn things that nobody tells you, click now and join us. Now let me introduce you to the man behind this revolutionary discovery. Dale Carnegie was not born in a privileged family. He grew up in a Missouri farm in poverty. His family was so poor that they could not afford to send him to the university, without him having to work on several jobs. But Carnegie had something special. He understood people in a way that he transformed not only their own life, but that of millions of people. In 1936 he published How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book became one of the best-selling self-help books of all time. But there is something that most people do not realize. Carnegie not only shared tips to feel good. I was documenting psychological principles that work at the deepest level of human nature. Principles that are even more relevant today than almost a century ago. Think about your daily life. Each interaction is an opportunity to create connection or distance. Whether you're making contacts in events, trying to close sales, leading a team, or cultivating relationships, each conversation is important. In our hyper-connected but increasingly isolated world, the ability to genuinely connect with others has become a superpower. Have you ever noticed that some people win all those around them without any apparent effort? It is not luck. They understand something fundamental about human psychology that most people overlook. They know how to take advantage of the deepest human need that drives all behavior. This is where it gets interesting. Modern neuroscience has validated what Carnegie observed over decades of study of successful people. Our brains are scheduled to respond to specific social signals. When these signals are correctly activated, they create an almost irresistible attraction. But when they are missing or done wrong, they create the opposite effect. The technique that I am going to share works because it addresses the most fundamental human impulse. More powerful than the need for food or refuge. More convincing than the desire for money or status. It is the need to feel valued and understood as a unique individual. So what is this technique that makes people feel irresistibly attracted to you? It is reduced to two elements that work together. First, a sincere fulfillment that shows that you have really noticed something specific about them. Second, a genuine interest that goes beyond the superficial talk. But here is the crucial part. Both must be absolutely authentic, or the entire technique will fail. Let me explain why this works so powerfully. When you make someone a sincere compliment about something specific, active what psychologist Robert Cialdini calls the principle of reciprocity. Human beings are scheduled to return positive behaviors. But it goes beyond that. You are providing social validation that releases dopamine in your brain, creating a real chemical reward to interact with you. The genuine interest component works because it satisfies what Abraham Maslow identified as one of our basic needs, the need to be seen and understood. When someone shows real curiosity for your thoughts, feelings, or experiences, a deep sense of connection is created. Your brain interprets this as security and acceptance, which are fundamental needs for survival. But this is where most people are wrong. They think that any fulfillment will work. They throw generic praise as "you are very intelligent" or "you are very nice." These empty phrases not only do not create a connection, but can harm it, since they indicate that you have not really paid attention. I will show you the difference. A generic compliment sounds like this: "Beautiful shirt." A specific and sincere compliment sounds like this: "I have noticed that you always choose colors that really complement your skin tone. You have a very good eye for what looks good." Do you see the difference? One is superficial, the other shows that you have really observed and thought of them as individuals. Now I will show you this technique in 3 real situations, so you can see exactly how to apply it. First, let's see a professional environment. Imagine that you are in a meeting with a partner who has been reluctant to your ideas. Instead of moving directly to your proposal, you start with something like this. I have been thinking about the solution you proposed last month for the problem of customer retention. The way you related data trends with specific customer behaviors demonstrated great analytical depth. I am curious to know how you identified those patterns, because I would like to understand how you address problems like that. Look at what just happened. You have made a specific fulfillment that shows that you paid attention and remembered his contribution. Next, you have expressed a genuine curiosity for your thinking process. This combination makes you feel valued and creates an opportunity for a real dialogue. Now let's move on to a social environment. You are at a networking event talking to someone you just met. Most people would make a small talk about time or ask what they do. But using the Carnegie technique, you could say something like this. I have not been able to look at how natural his connection with that group there has been. He has a gift to make people feel comfortable in a conversation. I am always trying to improve my own social skills. What is your secret to help people open so easily? Once again, it has combined a specific observation with a genuine interest. He has made him feel special while he has shown that he values his experience in something he clearly stands out. In intimate relationships, the technique becomes even more powerful because there is much more at stake. Instead of generic thanks as thanks for dinner, you could say, I love that you always remember how I like coffee, even when you are stressed by work. It shows me how much you care about the little things that make me happy. How have you developed so much detail with the people you want? Each of these examples follows the same pattern. Specific observation, more sincere, thanks, more genuine curiosity. This combination is almost impossible to resist because it meets multiple psychological needs at the same time. But let me warn you about the most common mistakes that completely destroy the effectiveness of this technique. The first is the forced compliment. When it is clear that you are looking for something pleasant to say, it is perceived as manipulator. People can detect the lack of sincerity kilometers away, and that creates the opposite of the connection you are looking for. The second is the generic interest. Ask how the day or what is new does not create a genuine connection. These questions are a social automatic pilot, and everyone knows. The real interest requires that you pay attention and ask about specific things that you have noticed or remembered about that person. The third is the hidden reason. If people perceive that you are only being kind because you want something, they will raise barriers immediately. The technique only works when your appreciation and interest really feel and are not calculated to cause effect. Next, we explain how to transform those errors into powerful connections. Instead of forcing a compliment, wait until you notice something you really appreciate. Instead of generic questions, ask about specific things that I've mentioned before. Instead of having an agenda, simply focus on understanding and appreciating them as people. Now, I will show you how to adapt this technique to high-risk situations in which the results really matter. In work interviews, most candidates focus on selling themselves. But, using the Carnegie approach, you can investigate the interviewer beforehand and say something like, I have read about the innovative approach I adopted to restructure the team last year. The way in which he maintained morals while increasing efficiency demonstrates a true leadership capacity. I am curious to know how the focus on the results with the focus on people balances. This approach makes you memorable because you have done your homework and you are showing a genuine interest in them as professionals. Most candidates are so focused on themselves that they forget that the interviewer is also a person who wants to feel valued and understood. In the case of high-value sales, the same principle is applied, but with an even greater impact. Instead of immediately presenting your product, you could say, I have followed the expansion of your company in the European market. The way in which he has adapted his message to the different cultural contexts, while maintaining the coherence of the brand, is impressive. I am curious to know what the greatest challenges that have been faced in that process have been. Now, you are no longer a seller. You are someone who has paid attention to your business, and who feels a genuine curiosity for your experience. This creates a completely different dynamic in which they want to share with you instead of defending yourself. In conflict resolution situations, this technique becomes a powerful tool to calm the spirits. When someone is upset with you, he resists the temptation to defend you immediately. Instead, try something like, I see that this situation has frustrated you a lot and I understand why. You have always been a person with high standards, and that is something respect for you. Help me understand exactly what I have failed to improve. This approach recognizes your feelings, validates its standards, and demonstrates that you value your perspective. It is almost impossible to remain angry with someone who is really trying to understand and improve. You can amplify this technique by combining it with other psychological triggers. Curiosity, for example. After you're sincere, fulfilled, and expressing your interest, ask an unusual question that makes him think. Something that probably have not asked him before, and shows that you really pay attention to who he is as a person. Stories also enhance the power of this technique. After appreciating something from him, he shares a brief, relevant story that shows that you understand his experience or his challenge. This creates an emotional resonance and a deeper connection. But remember that the base should always be authenticity. At the moment when your appreciation becomes calculated or your interest becomes manipulative, the entire approach fails. People have incredibly sensitive detectors for lack of sincerity, especially in our age of falseness in social networks. Let me give you 3 crucial warnings about what you should avoid. First, do not try to manipulate people to do things that are not the best for them. This technique creates a genuine influence that entails a genuine responsibility. Use it to create situations in which everyone wins, not to take advantage of you. Second, do not exaggerate or invest in inventions. If you do not find something genuine to appreciate, then you need to spend more time to pay attention, or this particular technique is not adequate for that situation. Third, do not confuse this with being false or complacent. This technique is based on genuine appreciation and interest, not to agree with everything or avoid difficult conversations. You can disagree with someone and continue valuing it as a person. The true power of this approach is clear when it is understood what happens under the surface. When you genuinely appreciate someone and show a real interest in their thoughts and experiences, you are communicating something deep. You are saying, I see you as a valuable and unique individual, worthy of attention and respect. In a world where most people feel invisible or interchangeable, this message is incredibly powerful. It stands out precisely because it is very uncommon. Most conversations are actually 2 people waiting for their turn to talk. But when you are in order to see and truly appreciate the other person, create something completely different. This technique also works because it is aligned with the real functioning of successful relationships. Either in business, friendship, or romance, people who build the strongest connections are those that make others feel valued and understood. It is not about being the most interesting person in the room, but about being the most interested. Here you have an action plan to start putting it into practice immediately. First, choose a person with whom you usually interact. It can be a co-worker, a relative, or a friend. During the next week, concentrate completely to look at specific things of that person you really appreciate. Not in their achievements or possessions, but in their qualities, their choices, or their way of focusing life. Secondly, he practices to express genuine curiosity for his thoughts and experiences. Ask questions that show that you have been paying attention. Questions about your process, your perspective, or your experience with something specific. Third, pay attention to how they respond. Look at the change in your energy, your body language, and your willingness to interact with you. This feedback will help you perfect your approach and gain confidence in the technique. The beauty of Carnegie's discovery lies in its simplicity and universality. It works in all cultures, ages, and contexts, because it addresses fundamental human needs that never change. The need to be seen, valued, and understood as an individual. But this is what makes this technique really irresistible. Create a virtuous circle. When you make someone feel valued and understood, it becomes more open and participatory. This makes it more interesting to talk to him, which makes your appreciation more genuine and further deepen the connection. Do you remember Sarah at the beginning of the video? The transformation he experienced was due to this technique. He stopped trying to impress people with their ideas and began to appreciate them genuinely as people. He began asking questions that showed a real interest in their perspectives and experiences. The result was remarkable. People started looking for her not because she was the smartest person in the room, but because they made them feel intelligent. They valued their opinion not because it was always right, but because she valued Hera. It became irresistible not because it was perfect, but for making others feel valued and understood. This is the paradox of influence. The more you give yourself in appreciating others, the more they appreciate you. The more interest you show for them, the more interesting you will be. It is not manipulation, but about a genuine human connection based on mutual respect and understanding. So here you have your challenge. Choose a person today and apply this technique. Find something specific that you really appreciate of her and shows a genuine curiosity for her thoughts or experiences. Do not expect immediate spectacular results. Instead, pay attention to the subtle change in the way it responds. Over time, you will notice that something incredible happens. People will begin to gravitate towards you naturally. They will look for your opinion, value your ideas, and want to spend more time in your company. You will become someone who people remember with love when they are not with you and who you want to meet again. It is not about becoming another person, but to be more authentic with yourself. When you are in order to appreciate and understand others, you naturally become a more grateful and comprehensive person. These qualities make you irresistible, not only in specific interactions, but as a human being. If this video has helped you, subscribe now, because next week I will reveal another powerful Carnegie technique to convert even a stranger into a loyal ally. Don't miss it. And remember that the technique I have shared today only works if you use it. So choose someone and try it today. Your future self will thank you for having taken this step to become someone irresistibly attractive to everyone you know.